Let me tell you about Hannah. I met her in our last year of high school. She was new, came from the Catholic school nearby. At first, she just seemed like this shy, sweet girl. I felt like I needed to look out for her. I had no idea what I was getting into. Hannah would tell me about all this drama from her old school. Made it sound like everyone was against her. I felt bad for her. We became friends, and things seemed okay for a while. But then stuff started to feel weird. It started with gossip from kids at her old school. They'd talk about crazy things that happened, and Hannah was always in the middle of it. Like, there'd be two girls fighting over a guy, both saying they were dating him in secret. Hannah always had a story that made her look like the victim. I didn't think much of it at first. I mean, high school is full of drama, right? But the stories kept coming, each one weirder than the last. Then we went to college. I thought I'd left all that high school stuff behind, but Hannah kept popping up. She'd call me with these crazy stories about her love life, about secret boyfriends and girls who were jealous of her. It was like she was living in a TV show or something. But the really creepy part, the way things seemed to go crazy around Hannah. People would suddenly stop talking to her, saying weird things happened but not wanting to explain. Hannah always had an excuse, of course. It was never her fault, always someone else being crazy or jealous. I started to see patterns. Hannah would get obsessed with certain guys, totally sure they were in love with her. She'd talk about other girls like they were out to get her, trying to steal her guy. But these guys? Most of the time, they barely knew Hannah existed. Things got really messed up. We were in her room, and she pulled out these books. Not normal books, but books about getting revenge and messing with people's heads. The way her eyes lit up when she talked about her pranks really freaked me out. This wasn't just normal teenage stuff anymore. This was something really dark. As time went on, things got worse. Someone almost died from drugs. There were stories about attempted murder, and every time, Hannah was right in the middle of it, acting all innocent. The last straw was when I got caught up in one of Hannah's crazy ideas. Suddenly, I was the other woman, stealing away some guy she thought loved her. She started threatening me, at first in small ways, then more scary ones. It all came to a head when Hannah showed up at my door. Her hand was in her purse, and her eyes looked wild. When she pulled out that gun, I realized this wasn't just a troubled friend anymore. This was a dangerous person who'd made me part of her crazy story. After that, I started putting it all together. The fake phone numbers, her pretending to be other people, all the big lies. I realized something terrifying. That sweet, shy girl I'd met in high school, she wasn't real. The real Hannah was dangerous, smart, and would do anything to keep her made-up world going. Looking back, I can see all the warning signs now. But when it was happening, Hannah's biggest trick was making you think you were the crazy one before you ever thought to question her. And that's what makes this whole thing so scary. Realizing that sometimes the scariest people can look just like your friends. My first term at a small college in New England started with a surprising meeting. As I was moving into my dorm room, surrounded by tall oak trees, I met Ethan. He was very friendly and told me right away that he was gay. He offered to help me unpack and asked me to get coffee at the school cafe. I thought his friendliness was a bit odd, but I was glad to make a friend so quickly and said yes. Ethan helped me a lot, and we went to the cute cafe near the school lawn. I made sure to tell him I was straight, thinking he might like me. He didn't seem upset and kept talking. I liked being with him. He was smart and fun to talk to. We started hanging out a lot, even though we lived in different buildings and studied different things. As fall came, I started to find Ethan too much. He always texted and messaged me online, getting mad if I didn't answer right away. He always wanted to know where I was and what I was doing. Once, when I said I was on the bus to town, he got angry that I didn't invite him. I was just going to my part-time job at a bookstore. When I made other friends, Ethan didn't like them. He told me not to trust them and acted jealous. His need to control me made me uncomfortable, and I tried to stay away. but the more I pulled back, the more he tried to stay close. Things got worse when I met Olivia at a Halloween party and asked her out. When I told Ethan about the date, he got upset. He said he'd be jealous and tried to make me feel bad about going. I reminded him that I was straight and that our friendship wouldn't stop me from dating. During my date with Olivia at a cozy coffee shop, I got many calls from unknown numbers. At first I answered, but no one spoke. The calls came so often that I had to turn off my phone. When I turned it back on, the calls started again right away. After the date, I found Ethan waiting outside my dorm, shaking in the cold November air. He tried to tell me Olivia was a bad person who would hurt me. When I asked how he knew, he said he'd done his research. I was angry that he was getting involved and told him it wasn't his business. Ethan's actions got even worse. He sent me fake messages that looked like they were from Olivia, trying to ruin our relationship. When I asked him about it, he said I was a bad friend for not believing him. Fed up with his tricks, I blocked him on social media. He kept texting and calling, saying he was sad and thinking about hurting himself because of me. He also spread lies about Olivia and me to other students, causing problems with my friends. The situation got so bad that I moved back to my parents' house in a nearby town for a while. When I came back to school after Thanksgiving break, thinking things would be better, someone threw a rock through my window. Right after, Ethan called, trying to blame Olivia. That was the last straw. I called school security and they found drugs in Ethan's room. He was kicked out of school and I never saw him again. My relationship with Olivia didn't last, probably because of all the stress from Ethan's behavior. But I learned an important lesson. It's okay to say no to friends who ask for too much. Now I look out for bad signs in friendships. If something feels wrong, I listen to that feeling. A good friend shouldn't make you feel bad about yourself.